Pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we do have a quorum. Public comment. 3 minutes, and you do not, whatever time you do not use, it doesn't go into another effect. So use it the best you can. Okay? Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of September minutes.
Hello,
Oh, go ahead.
were the minutes not distributed ahead of time? Are you all just reading the minutes?
I'm just getting them now.
Yeah.
I may wanna think about doing that prior to the meeting.
I agree.
Thank you.
My apologies, my fault. I got a question of the number 5, approve, 4. Was the special rep meeting posted on YouTube? Somebody
was it?
inquired about that, was that posted?
The special meeting, that was posted,
Was it?
Was it?
I'm just curious.
wasn't it?
It's posted under the wrong date.
Oh, okay.
I'll check it.
Do I have a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the minutes have been approved.
You got a question?
Yeah,
Are the YouTube postings part of the minutes?
There was, somebody had asked about it during.
Yes,
public
they did.
comment,
I understand.
So it was
Thank you.
put in here.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you. I now know what that was, yes.
okay, we're down to focus group reports. We're going with Vicki first, event schedule for 2025. Vicki, would you explain that, please?
Okay, so, in the ordinance, it says that we are supposed to be having events, so we set a schedule, and here's yours.
Thank you.
There's another one in the packet there, but that's, I ran off extra ones.
Okay.
So, what we're proposing to the community is to, do, 4 different types of events. So the first event we'd like to do would be April 13th, and that will be the community spring fling. And that will be, the community egg hunt, and that would be, in the, at the event where we would like to have, bounce houses, kids games, a family photo booth, food trucks. The snack shop will be open, that the township, that the rec park will run to help, bring back some of the costs of what it's gonna do for the community. We will have live music, We potentially would like to have hay rides, and I'm working to, work with the 4-H to have, little mini petting zoos to give the 4-H kids a chance to all their hard work all year. So that's tentatively what the spring fling would be. It would be on a Sunday afternoon, and it will run from 3 to 6. And then the next event that we would like to do is we would like to do what they call First Saturday Night Out. So we would do the first Saturday night of every month. And there's extra papers up here if anybody wants to see them, of the event papers. May 3rd, June 7th, July 4th, July 5th would be the first Saturday night out, but the 4th of July this year is on a Friday. So I would like to contact Providence Church. They are, they do a 4th of July program with fireworks and everything. So if they're, right now tentatively, the church said they're still going to be doing it on the 4th. So it's that weekend we would do ours on that Saturday night also for the community here. And then August 2nd and then September 6th. So these are tentative dates. And we would have live music each first Saturday night of the month, and do the same thing with the food trucks and different activities for the bounce houses. And I would like to get the fire company to be able to come up. I know that they are needing volunteers, and they're trying to build their junior fireman program. So I'm gonna be talking with them at their next meeting, once these are approved by the Board of Supervisors, so that they could come up with some of their equipment. And I'd also like to talk to the police station to see if they'd like to come as a community, reach out, and see if they would like to, the fire company would like to put things out for volunteers that I know they need, and also to try to build their junior fireman program, which is kind of dwindling. So I also wanted to see if the 501c3 would want to do something during any of the events, that they would want to have like a fundraiser within the event. And because like the way the ordinance breaks is we as a rec board do events. The 501c3 does fundraisers. So what we're planning to do with all these is just basically bless the community and give back to the community and get them back into coming to our park. The 501c3, if they want to, can have lots of different fundraisers that they can do. They can do raffles, there's so many different things that you could do during each event to raise money for the park. So if the 501c3, and that's what I was saying about all of us working together, if the 501c3 wants to do something, then they can just let us know how much space you need. So when we're doing the layout, we make sure that we give 501c3 ample space so that they can have a fundraiser if they want in our event, or they can do their own, but we'll already have some of the community there if they wanted to do that. So that's just to put that out there to them. The third event would be our fall festival, and that is tentatively scheduled for October 19th, and that would be from 2 to 6. As of right now, as long as the fire company has volunteers, they're doing their trunk or treat. And I spoke with them because my store always sets up for trunk or treat every year. And if they continue to have volunteers, they will still continue to have the trunk or treat, and we'll do a fall festival, more like a fun hay rides, pumpkin carving, that kind of stuff here at the park. But I did tell them if they need the rec park, if they would like us to take over trunk or treat, we would do that for the community, and we can set the whole thing up. But for right now, and they had a great turnout. I mean, we handed candy out. I think I did over 200 bags, and they brought us more. So we must have gave out over 300 bags of candy on Sunday. So it is really growing. So we want to keep it going for the community because people enjoy it. The fourth thing would be the winter / Christmas in the park. That'll be tentatively scheduled December 14th, and that would be from 1 to 5. And then we'll have Santa in the park, and then we'll do hot chocolate and Christmas things, Christmas music in the park, and these things that we've proposed are, trying to get tentative dates, because when you're scheduling food trucks, bounce out all this kind of music, it has to be done a year in advance. These vendors set up, this is their living, so they have a year's schedule. You can't just a month or two ahead and say, I would like you to come, because they're usually booked. So that's why we wanna get it approved at the next board meeting, if we all approve these, so that we can start scheduling and lining up these, people and getting it going, so that's that.
No,
Is
this,
it-
this, Christmas thing, you're not talking about this, you're talking about the following.
Following, this is 2025,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't have that on,
Now,
this is 2025 scheduled events.
the Providence Church, did you want them to see if they wanted to do their whole event here?
No,
Or-
they're gonna do it at the church.
Okay.
What we would do is, for like the evening viewing of the fireworks, so our township can have a small little thing on the hill, cause it would be the first Saturday night, and we can just have music over here, rather than them doing that Friday night, and then us trying to do something Saturday night, since a holiday weekend.
Okay.
I just thought that was one of the questions that I thought we could just propose to bring it up that way, so, so I
Okay.
just-
Have you checked, is the township liability insurance cover us here?
Yes, it's no different than the people on the playground. Like, if the people are here publicly on the playground. Now, one thing we can do is, if the 501c3 would want to be at the event, they could just get a rider for that day, for that night. Cause all the events are one night. Like what they talked about at the meeting, about them being, so they don't have to buy their own insurance.
Yeah.
They could just get a rider for that day.
So we need to, if the 501c3 wants in on any of these events, we would have to have you eventually listed, and we'll see what it costs for a rider.
Mhm.
But it would be much lower than what you would pay for your own,
Right.
hopefully.
Oh, it will, because the township bears most of the, would bear most of the liability, and then they would just have their rider for that extra protection. So I was just asking our board if we could approve these so that they could go to the November, Board of Supervisors meeting, for them to approve them, so we can start getting all this stuff lined up, get on their schedules. Yes.
So, just to clarify what you said about the nonprofit and the food trucks in particular. So, do the food trucks, are you gonna generate any revenue? It sounds from this that the purchase of food is optional.
Mhm.
And so, is there gonna be revenue from this, and are you allowed to take revenue, or are these supposed to cost money, but then money is raised in other ways, or is this supposed to, are you hoping to just break even and then call it that?
Well, our goal will be to, break even, or if you make a little bit, my goal is to get bands or different people like that, like the children's shows and stuff. A lot of times they go to places like this for free. You could solicit them to go for free, and then they get to sell their t-shirts and they advertise, and they book bands. They use you to book other venues. So what I'm gonna start out first, so that we can keep the cost of the event down, is to solicit them to, after you go and hear them, or they send you demo tapes, is how it works. You contact them, they have demo tapes, or they can show you, they have a Facebook page, or they're on Instagram, and you can see where they were. And then you can also ask them where else they played, and then I would contact them just to find out, did they show, that's how it's normally done, and that's how I would do it. So the money that we would actually raise isn't like what the 501c3 is doing. Theirs is more for projects, everything that we would raise would go back into doing things for the community, not for, like swing sets or something like that. That's the fundraising. This is just in the ordinance where that we're supposed to get activities for the community here at the park.
Got it, thank you. That was that last part. Let's do it.
Any other questions from the public? Okay, then the three of us, first of all, if we're in agreement to send this to the board for approval, we need a motion, and then,
I think this is, I'm looking at this and thinking, this is ambitious, but I love it. This is exactly what you wanna be doing at a rec park, having community events, sports things, this is fantastic. This is a big undertaking, I mean, I see you already put a lot of work into this.
Well, once you get your vendors, like, matter of fact, the one vendor that was at the Porter's Fire Company at the trunk or treat, she used to be the vendor that I hired her. I already talked to her and she's like all in. Once people realize that you don't double book the food vendors, you keep it all inclusive, they know that they're gonna make money there, and they know that it's probably something they'll get put on their schedule and it'll be there year after year after year. And that's really what food vendors and the children's show program people are and stuff. That's their livelihood, so they're always looking for new, different events to squeeze into their schedule, so.
Yeah, that's good. Now, I was thinking, a few years back when Spring Grove had an event near the Circle. Did anybody happen to go to that?
Oh, yeah.
They had like a carnival or festival or something. It was where that stone building is near that.
Yes, the Hoke House.
Yeah, it was
the
right
Hoke
near
House,
that.
yes. Mhm.
And if I remember right, they had, I don't wanna say a talent night, but they had some students from the school, from the music program, come down and do some stuff. So, you know, you say live music, it doesn't necessarily have to be all a band.
No,
You could,
it's all different types of things you can have for them.
the special chorale might
Mhm.
be wanting to come and do a number of spring concert or
Mhm.
fall, I don't
Yep.
know. Or
There's been people,
there
bluegrass
was a
bands.
father-daughter combination, and I don't know who it was, but the daughter was friends with one of my daughters. But they came and they just did a couple of songs, and I thought that's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's why I put at the end, because when we say music, we can do, even our first Saturday night out, we can do a talent night and that kind of stuff where they submit, videos to you through Facebook or Instagram or something.
That's
And then
great.
you pick your people, that's how you do it. So,
That's a
and it's
big
fun, it's great for the community.
Well, I love it. I can't wait to throw it into
Okay.
throw it up to the board.
in my opinion, to pull this off, we're gonna need some volunteers.
Mhm.
We're gonna need to start getting a volunteer list together and get help, because three of us can't do
Right.
it, okay? So, do you have any ideas on that?
So the best thing that I was thinking about the volunteer list to do is, number one, what we wanna do is we wanna put out a newsletter to the, from the office. And we can do that, because they haven't done a holiday one yet. Or do it at the beginning of first of the year. So, just to say stuff that's going on, once this is approved, you'll post it, then you'll put out that there's volunteers. The important thing to do with volunteers is we'll have a list of some people, and we'll get the fire company involved, they can help with a lot of the parking and stuff, some of their volunteers. It's important that if it's gonna be a 3-hour, 4-hour program or something, you wanna try to only have that volunteer work 1 hour, so that they can spend the rest of the time with their families, and then they'll wanna, once you get the community invested, they'll be calling you, want to be part of this project, because they enjoyed it. So in the beginning, you know, you get different families, and there's plenty of people in the community that will, once they see it especially, usually the first event is the hardest with,
Right.
and we'll put it out at the township meetings, you know, we'll get up and talk about it in the township meetings. Once people see what you're doing and how fun it is for the community, then they'll be invested that they'll wanna come and help. So, we'll start a volunteer list, we'll put it out on Facebook, that we're gonna be doing it, and do
Well,
social media and
I
stuff.
love the idea of putting it out on a newsletter
Mhm.
to the whole township.
Right,
And that, in that same vein, if you have people in the township, businesses in the township that wanna get involved,
Mhm. They can sponsor stuff with, that's the next thing I was gonna do when Renan's question about the money. So the next thing you do is you get sponsors of businesses in the community or other businesses that would like to be part of your program, and they can sponsor this bounce house. And then you will get a sign, this bounce house was sponsored by Freedom Log House. And this is sponsored by Cool Water Roofing. And this is sponsored by Magus Mill Store. And then the cost to the township is minimal. So if you're making money in the snack shack or from the food vendors and stuff, you can get more houses or more things to grow your event. So that's how I would attack the situation.
get it started, but I think this is something to take off.
Oh, I seeing Trunk or Treat, how it's been growing, and people are looking for events like this to take their families to. And if they are, I mean, they can feed their children, they can even bring a picnic luncheon if they can't afford to eat the food trucks. One of the things that we need to do is with the township doing Snack Shack, we really need to we wanna keep the prices down, and you can get people to sponsor, like Magus Mill Store, they may sponsor the hot dogs and stuff like that, so when you can sell them at a really, really cheap rate. And then you'll make sure your food trucks have other things that you're not gonna have in the snack shack, so that you don't step on their
Right,
toes, and
right.
they can, because that's their livelihood, so they need to make a living, and it costs them a lot to set up, you know, buying the food and all that, so, that's how you do that effectively.
Sounds great. Big undertaking.
Okay, so it sounds like we're ready to,
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we present this to the board. I love the idea. I mean, they may have some adjustments that they wanna make, but I'm all on board to get this going. I think it's great, so I'll make a motion to present this to the board.
second? I'll second it.
All right?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved.
Good job. Good stuff.
Thank you very much for all the groundwork here.
Oh,
If you need help in any way, let me know,
Mhm.
because I can contact and go out to people and get food and
Good.
things like that.
good,
I
we'll
know.
get you a menu, and tell you what we're gonna have in there.
Okay. Back to Vicky with Snack Shack upgrade report.
Okay, just to finish some stuff from the other meeting, the snack shack, when we toured it, when Gloria and I went up to look at it, it was actually in fairly good shape inside. It could use a little freshening up with some paint and some cleaning, but, some of the future things that I'm gonna be looking for is, and I would like to put it in the newsletter too, is to see if we can get a, freezer. Because if people donate different things, then we can freeze it for our next event, so like nothing will get wasted, everything that people give will be used. So if we could get a freezer, a chest freezer, or somebody in the community, if you put that in the newsletter, if they would have an extra one, we can put it out on
Does it still
Facebook.
have that little,
Has a refrigerator and a sink in there.
but it doesn't have that little freezer chest anymore?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I didn't see that, no,
Okay.
no, that wasn't in there. Now, I think it was Julie left a hot dog rolling machine there, and it's a pretty decent sized one, so that's there, that she left for the township. So, the other thing that we were talking about, it would be nice to have, there's no cupboards in there or no countertops, so people all the time on Facebook will put, a marketplace, will put that they have these cupboards and counters and stuff, it's just a matter of us going and getting them. So we could get, if we can get our hands on some of them, that would make working in the kitchen, when you're doing the events things. And the township's taking care of fixing all the window things and getting that all, fixed, so we don't have to do any of that. So little things like that, that we can get into to the kitchen, so when we're doing our events, but we can find all that stuff either by donation or marketplace. And if you do make extra money on one of your events, then you can ask the township, can we get this for the snack shack for our events? You know, we can then look to them. Or if there's something specific, we can ask the 501c3 if they would be interested in raising the money once you get in there and do an event.
Okay. I have a kitchen cabinet friend that when they tear them out, they just destroy them. And we can
Perfect.
probably get them so they are,
Then we can just paint them and,
yeah.
yeah, perfect, that's exactly what we're looking for. And there again, once you have our volunteer list, then you can just ask people, hey, we're having a painting party, like what they do with the trees, when they're just planting the trees and everybody just shows up, just do something like that, yeah.
Bob?
Yeah, this may have been, excuse me, covered elsewhere. What type of license do you need to do this? To house food, serve food? What type of inspections are you subjecting yourselves to?
Well,
I mean, you just can't do it without something like that, that I do know.
well, the, kitchen that they had, the snack shack, would have been already, would probably, once we get it cleaned and up, will have to be inspected.
But some type of a license has to be, gotten to do it.
Right, and you can get temporary license just for your event, not
Okay, I'm just
to,
asking.
yes. And it once, that's what I say, the way the thing is set up now, I mean, ballparks and stuff go in and use it now, or they were, and they didn't have any, inspections or anything, they
Well,
just
then they
had,
actually were operating beyond the law. I can tell you that. You can't just serve food in a place like that to the public without some type of a license.
absolutely.
Okay, so you just said they were doing it.
They
That doesn't
do,
ma- That doesn't make
every
it
ball
right.
field you go to, they do it,
Okay.
and they do it, just like at yard sales, they do it. But I'm saying, once we get the thing cleaned up and stuff, that's why we're not having our first event until April. So we have time to get it clean, fixed, and then have the state come out and look at it. Just like they do the fire company and all those places. We're not running a restaurant out of it, we'll have a schedule of events.
No, I understand that, but
Oh,
when
we
you
will.
serve food,
Oh, I understand,
regardless of whether it's technically a restaurant or whether it's a snack shack, there
I-
are regulations regarding that, just trying to make everyone aware of that.
oh, I know, I had a tea room and I was licensed, and that's one of the things that we will have them come out and inspect it, make sure it's. meets the
Okay,
state
Bob,
requirements.
thanks for bringing that up. I didn't think of that, but
No,
that's a
yeah.
good idea. We need to take care of that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna, yeah.
Okay, so we talked about a freezer. You take any size freezer?
There's plenty of room in there for it, yeah, yeah, there's plenty of room in there,
And cupboards,
mhm.
what else, that we may be able to get free or have somebody buy?
Any kind of kitchen utensils that they can use in the kitchen,
Okay,
and as we go along, I'm sure people will contact us and say, I have such and such, would you want it for your, I mean, as long as they're clean and work in order and they're sanitized and stuff, which will be cleaning the stuff when it comes in anyway. It's the stuff, anything that's pre-packaged, you do not have to be inspected for, if stuff is pre-packaged. It's the stuff that if you are like using the hot dog roller or your, if you would do burgers and that kind of stuff, that's the stuff we need inspected for. But anything that you take right out of a container and set out or sell that's came from a licensed food, you do not have to be inspected for. But if we do stuff, then it has to be inspected.
Could you put out like a wish list of things, like families could donate a new freezer or a new, whatever for the local population of the township?
That's what I was hoping in the newsletter, that we could get either in December or January from the township, to have our wish list so that we could get all that stuff. And they can call us and we can go look at it just to make sure it's all, like, in working order or something.
So, you ready to
That's-
move on?
Yep,
Yep.
that's all I needed to say about that.
Any comments?
Yeah, I have a comment and a question.
Yeah.
What was the outcome of the contractor you had at the snack shack?
The board of supervisors took it over, Barb, had them take it over, they took the information, so I have no idea.
Uh,
Other than they were fixing the windows and stuff,
The windows are fixed.
Barb
Okay.
was in charge of that.
yeah, she took all the estimate and stuff.
The contractor that you had at the snack shack.
The contractor that Gloria and I had out, yes,
So you don't have any information on that.
not to where not where the township is. I have a copy of his estimate, of the original one that Gloria and I got,
And
But-
would you like to share it?
sure, if they wanted to see it. Let me find his estimate.
Now, this is an estimate to have the,
Well, when Gloria and I went to, meet with, the contractor to find out like what to do and ideas,
this is for upgrades or
to, like a wish
for
list
the
of what.
concession building.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, the concession building is workable the way it is, but this was like future, like wish list, like what you said. So there,
Yeah.
that's what, he sent us, he sent me and Gloria each one, then we made a copy.
This is the
and Barb-
same, right?
Yeah, that's
You
it.
can pass that.
Yes, yep, that's it. That's the one that the township, so the township took it over because it was their responsibility to fix it.
So it's there, it's out of our hands at this point.
Well, yes, cause the wish list part of it, is something that down the road we would talk to the 501c3 about,
Okay.
doing down the road. Like, this is what it was with, Mr. Hoover. And, it was ways to rearrange in there to make it more functional. So when we're ready to rent out the snack shack, like when the ball fields are fixed, that you can rent them out. Like moving that door and stuff like that. So this was the things that we asked about to have fixed and done.
Vicky. So are you saying that once you repair that, you can rent out those facilities too, including the snack shack?
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever comes in and rents it would then provide their own permit or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but you'd have some inspected facilities that they can rent out if they need them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the
baseball
future.
fields.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
could make money this way.
Right. And Dan, isn't that what we potentially are planning for? I mean,
Yeah, I-
once everything, now this is, like I said, this was one estimate of a wish list that we only had like 3 weeks to get this estimate. We were told to get it, and we had 3 weeks. So Gloria called some contractors she knew, I called a contractor that we had, and, then hers canceled, and this gentleman came, and, Mr. Hoover came. So, when we're ready to do this stuff, and we explained, to Bill, we were just trying to get information. We didn't know what the township was gonna be doing. This wasn't a job for him right then and there. And he was gracious enough to come and help us. So, we at least had something to present. Lori and I could present at the next meeting. That's what we were trying to do. So we only had that 3 weeks, and we at least had something with some estimates and stuff. And he also said, this would be as if they did all the work. He said if we would bring volunteers in, and they only needed a licensed plumber or electrician to do certain things, we could take, the volunteers could do the rest of the work, and then the fees would be scaled back. This is just if we walked away from it and let them do everything, is how it was, we asked him to bid it out. We tried to get multiple, estimates at the time, but in a 3-week time, we couldn't get anybody
Yeah,
else to
I
come out that wanted to take the time to do it.
Yeah, and I understand that. I would definitely want some other
Oh,
estimates.
yeah.
If we were gonna be going ahead with that, some of that looks a little
But-
pricey.
But just to be clear, you guys are not responsible for this
No,
at all?
no.
Yeah.
No, but in the beginning, they asked us to get it, to see, because the window was broken, we thought there was more.
And it wanted to be, the Board of Supervisors wanted it repaired before the winter.
Right,
And so we did the groundwork and they
They took-
approved the,
the windows.
right,
Oh, and Mr. Hoover did fix the pipe to the water holding area, and, showed us that the outdoor receptacle was broken, and, it was very dangerous because it was not, there was no cover, it was broken.
They usually will fix them, or they get somebody else?
I-
You said the fix, I just wondered what kind.
Do you know who they used, Sandy, if you knew they were fixed?
They're fixed, I know Ben did the boards over them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't hear. I knew they approved it at the last Board of Supervisors meeting to fix it, but I don't know who they got. We weren't involved in it, so I don't know. So,
okay.
so
So
I'm done.
that was an update on that. We still have doggy station update.
Yeah, we were just wondering how the 501c3 is making out with the doggy stations.
I met with Ben last week up at the park, and between the two of us, we decided where they were gonna go.
Good. We didn't know if you needed volunteers to put it in.
I think they put Ben in charge of it.
Okay, good, all right. And that's done.
So we can cross that off, it's all taken care of.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I don't have a time frame though of when they will be done.
That's fine, at least we know that somebody's doing it, we were just curious to how they were doing.
You delivered the units to Judy 2 weeks ago,
Just last week,
last week.
the beginning of last week. So yeah, almost, yeah, it's just the beginning
Okay, cool.
of last week, only the Tuesday.
So the township has them,
Yeah, they have them.
awesome. Thank you very much for that. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, now I have, the noose around my neck with these bylaws. Okay. I gave each board member the revised again, okay? We took the solicitor's comments on there, and if you look, do you have the old one that the solicitor marked up?
I don't have it with me.
Okay.
There's one in the packet.
This,
Isn't there another one?
oh, okay.
Is there
right.
another one? I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
here we
it's in
go.
your packet.
I didn't look-
There you go.
Got it.
And since you just got this revised one from me tonight, I would like you to take it home and study it. But on the other hand, I wanna go through some things that have occurred, so you may not have a lot of questions when you come back next month. Okay? All right. So it's basically, you probably wanna put them side by side. Okay, I'd like to go to, section 2.02. It stays the same, but I think we need to focus on this because this is what we're being told is our, goal in the Park and Recreation Board, okay? Advise the Board of Supervisors in order to foster a meaningful and satisfying program of leisure and recreational activity and events for the residents of Heidelberg Township in a manner that will preserve the township's natural and historic resources for the enjoyment of the future generation. So that's our mission statement, which during the events, I think, covers that, okay? In the one above, 2.01, pertaining to the park and recreation, maintenance of such land in Heidelberg Township called the park. So we're also told to keep up with the operations and management, okay? So those are basically 3 of our duties, okay? Okay, I would like to go to page 6 on the original, page 6.
Okay.
This whole, from 9.01 to section 9.05 has been eliminated in the new bylaws, okay? And the reason why is the solicitor says that these things are not in our ordinance that was given to, if you read down at the bottom, they were not in the ordinance. And the working of the 501c3 and the Township Park Board should be worked at the very bottom of the relationship through trust process. I'm reading that right.
So he has here, should the 501, the park board, the township, the park board, 501c3 should have an approved purpose, is that what his hand, has printed it, he might.
Maybe.
The word is
It might be
aligned.
Have an aligned purpose.
Well, they photocopied it, you can't even see it, there's letters missing of the word, and I have a photocopy, he has I don't have.
No, I don't have the original
Oh,
either.
you can't even,
It's
there's
just,
letters
it's
missing.
bad, it's just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is right. An
Okay.
aligned purpose.
Aligned, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Is yours,
It says alignment of purpose.
we're down here. See,
Oh,
we were
oh.
trying to read his writings.
Oh,
like
that
li-
word, okay,
like
gotcha.
It's, some of the letters are missed when it's photocopied.
This is also not contemplated.
Case by case
Okay.
basis. Oh, the case by
So
case.
then he's saying that he wants us to take it on a case-by-case basis first,
Yeah.
rather than put it in the bylaws, okay? I don't know if that's the best thing in the world, but he's the attorney, and he's the one that wrote this. So he's not gonna approve it again with this in there.
But isn't it that just like what I explained about the events, like when the 501c3 sees that we're doing an event, like separate from an event they may be doing that's on the books, that they can then come to us, I mean, as far as a case by case, and say, hey, we would like this much space because we would like to have this kind of fundraiser in your community event, and so then you can work with it that way.
I
Is that what
agree,
he's, I mean, that's how I
I
understand it.
agree 100%. And then it says, details of the relationship through process first, okay? Through, is that the trust process first?
So, mine doesn't have all the letters.
Okay.
I don't,
So what he's asking, if I'm reading it properly,
we're down here.
Okay, and then,
is that the Park and Recreation Board work with the 501c3 hand in hand, okay? And just like you said, if they want to, I'm gonna use the word piggyback, or be in the event, have something for, going on for a fundraiser in the event, then we're gonna approve that.
Mhm. Right,
Are we in agreement?
right, I
Yes.
understand that,
yeah.
I think.
Okay.
So like if they, I mean, if this is on, so like, say we wanna do a set of swings up there. So the 501c3, we're having the spring fling. So they would like to, have a fundraising event inside of our event. So that the fundraising event won't be free like what we do. But the people will understand that the 501c3 is working to improve the park. So if they sell raffle tickets or whatever, then the community will understand that the monies that they're doing there,
It's still
It's-
going back to the point.
right, and it's for the park. So they'll basically be under the umbrella of the event, but they're gonna have their own event under the main event.
Okay. Now, I have one other concern, and that is writing grants, okay?
Which page are you on now?
I thought I highlighted it, you must have my wrong copy. No, this is my copy. We took out all the I apologize. Oh, here it is, yeah. In the old one, with me? Section 9.05.
Okay. Grant writing,
Yes. Okay. Grant writing, it said the charity may serve as a grant writer, may serve as a grant writer for the township and will coordinate closely with the rec board and township manager to obtain necessary plan, permission, and technical information required to submit a successful grant application, okay?
alright,
I would like,
But this is out, according to them, right? Yeah,
yes,
okay.
but I'm putting it before this board that we have something with grant writing in this. Not only do I feel that the charity can write grants, but I feel the rec board could write grants because that's why I'm here. I have some expertise in writing grants that I've done, and I wanna either be a part of the charity in helping writing grants, or us write grants. Plus, I would like to invite the outside general public, if they're interested in writing grants, to go ahead and do it. Yes, sir.
Can I, obviously, I don't have it in front of me, but I think that there's a distinction between, so a grant is a contract, right? And so there's a distinction between writing a grant, which anyone can do, you're completely right, anyone can do, right? Versus submitting a grant, which is a power that only the signatory has. And so I think that what you guys want is the power to write grants on behalf of the board, but the board is gonna submit them, and the township is gonna submit them, and you guys don't have that power. It's the board of supervisors that has the power to approve those. I suspect that that's what you guys would like, not the power to submit grants on your own behalf.
No, but
Well-
to develop them.
Correct, anyone can, that's why I was drawing that distinction. I think anyone can write a grant, develop it, finish it, give it to the board of supervisors. They are the signatories that have the power to submit it.
Yes, I agree 100%. Now I lost them.
But why do we have, if the attorney is telling us to take it out, I guess my question is, why does it have to be in here? Who does it, or, because,
But
is
how
less
do we
more?
know how do people know if we don't have it something somewhere? That's,
Well, I think what Renan's saying is correct. Like, you could write the grants, but that's something that on the meeting, you would have to submit to the board of supervisors, which then they would, then through the office, it would actually get submitted and not from us.
and the other thing.
Like what they did for the water company and stuff, like, they submitted all the grants and did all that stuff. We would basically be doing the legwork, or you would basically be doing the legwork for the office, so they wouldn't have to do it, but they have to be the facilitators, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
but we as a rec board have to specify the significant or the specific grant that we're writing. We can't have people writing grants
I see
for
what you're saying.
everything out there.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
We have to submit to the board of supervisors grant writing for a specific item.
If
For
you-
example.
Okay, go ahead.
For example, the possibility of writing a grant for the master plan is very real.
Okay.
We can, so that's just an example. Then we can put that out there, that we're out asking people if they wanna write a grant for the master plan of the park. Or when we get any further along, for something more specific.
But isn't that what our job is? Anyway, you just read that thing back here in the beginning. Our job is to put it out there, does anyone want to, we need to write a grant for this, who would like to do it? Who would like to work together to do it? That's already in the beginning ordinance. I mean, no one can just, if they want something, they would go to the board of supervisors and say, hey, I wanna write a grant for this. They're gonna direct them back to the rec board, let them work through us, and then once we approved whoever it is in the community, or if you're saying someone else is gonna do it, that would have to be approved by us. Yes, we will accept that, grant that they wrote up after we look through it and everything. And then we have to take it to the board of supervisors to be in the correct chain of command. So no one can just, if I understand this correctly, no one can just go to the board of supervisors and say, hey, I'm writing a grant. I mean, even stuff that the 501c3 wants to do, they would get their ideas or their programs or their ideas and say, hey, we would like to do this for the park. We've collected this much money, we would like to do this for the park, like knowing the wish list or whatever. And then it would go through us, then we would vote, and then after we vote, then you would take it to the board of supervisors, and then they would accept our recommendation or not. So it's like, it seems like the ordinance already has a chain of command, according to what you read in the beginning.
Okay, Now,
Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
there's something else missing here though.
yeah, I think.
We
that's a fair
have-
point.
To be specific as to what that grant is going to be written for.
Well, correct. Well, I don't think you you can't just get a grant don't you have to put in the grant what you're gonna do with it? That it's all in there of why you're applying, correct? For
Well,
this,
You've written grants before, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so when you do that, when you're writing a grant, you have to be specific about what the money is gonna be used for.
and, yeah, and just. Okay, Bob has. a
Yeah, I
question.
think this is turning into sort of a convoluted mess, to be honest with you. I mean, it's my understanding you all are an advisory board. Think about that word. What are you? You're an advisory board. So this whole grant thing is great, I understand it. But without you going to the supervisors and having something you want done, the grant doesn't even exist, and they've gotta say, okay. You're not gonna
That's my point.
write grants for all kind of ideas you have, I don't hope not,
Yeah,
before you go to the supervisor and do what
Exactly.
your job is. Pretty simple, I mean,
No, you're right.
that's what I'm
but
trying
we
to
have
say.
to
well, I tried to
recommend,
say it a little quicker than you
but
did.
we
I'm
have to
just trying get it out.
recommend, we have to decide what grants are number 1, 2, 3. We have to have,
After
an
you have
idea.
those projects approved by the supervisors.
then they approve it or not.
I don't think so, I don't think that's the way it
Well,
works. but
you
can
said
find
that
out.
people couldn't go to the supervisors and write a grant. Well, we got no power. We're just an advisory board. Hopefully they could go to the supervisors, but hopefully the supervisor would kick it back to us, and we would look at our master plan and say, is this in alignment with what we want? And then make a recommendation back to them, but technically, we got no teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just an advisory board.
Okay, Ron?
Perhaps, and I'm just trying to interpret what you're asking for, John. So it sounds to me like maybe what you're asking for is, this is a governance document, and to make it part of your governance chain, that there is a process by which you go to the supervisors, propose ideas for what it is that you're going to write, get their input, and then they give you the mandate for, okay, now write this grant or grant this other grant, and therefore it's a little clearer then to you, rather than trying to have a football match here all the time, and that there you may end up potentially with two factions writing two grants, etc.
I must have presented it wrong, but that's exactly what I would like.
So what we wanna do is tell the supervisors, if there's grants being written for the rec park, please go through our board first,
Well,
and then we'll
they
kick it back.
shouldn't be even going anywhere without our recommendation.
Well, right, it shouldn't, but it could, because we're just an advisory board. It's not like they've given us control to really do anything, except for give advice.
Okay, I'm
I think,
moving to pull this out, and
I think that's maybe why the attorney took it out, because exactly what Bob said.
Yeah.
It's a chain of command, and that's how it's gonna be. So, that's probably why the attorney just said to take the whole section out.
okay.
But remember, we said, if there, at any time, and I remember Barb said this, if at any time you see stuff isn't working the way it's written here, you can go back and revise it and change it. So if we do find out that there is a problem that you're worried about, then we just go back and we revise the bylaw to fix that problem.
But
Barb
it
said-
also says, if we revise the bylaws, it has to be with the approval of the board of supervisors.
Well, yes, exactly, but that's what he just said, but I'm just saying, if something happens that you're worried about, then we take it to the board of supervisors and say, can we put this in the bylaws to change to, and
Or
that's,
probably Schultz is first, because he's the
or
one.
him, or whatever. I just think he already
Okay.
said to take it
All
out,
right.
and less is more sometimes.
So, the new one is blue, it's
Okay.
all, so you can distinguish between,
Okay.
and like I said, digest it, mark it up, come back. It is real bare bones now.
This is the one you wanna, the new one is the one you want us to go through now?
Yes.
And, okay. Yes.
This has all the stuff out that the attorney said no
Well,
about,
well, that's,
or recommended.
Or rec-
that's
Not,
good.
I rephrased that, he didn't say no, he just recommended we changed it. Okay.
I know that at the prior meeting, some people had copies of this, of what you guys were discussing, and some people didn't. Are you gonna make copies kind of accessible to everyone that way?
It's on the website.
This version is on the website.
Now, the new version will be as of tomorrow.
Perfect, great,
Okay? The old
Great.
one was already on the website,
lovely.
okay? So, once we get this on the website, you can sit down and compare them if you want.
Oh, no, I don't need to compare. I just wanna come to the next meeting with,
Well, the next
Yeah.
meeting will be the Board of Supervisors meeting, because then we're voting to get, or
Well,
no, next meeting, that's right,
yeah.
okay.
next
Yeah.
park board
So
meeting,
when,
I would like to come having read
November
what you guys have
19th,
read. That way it'll be more
November
fun.
19th, then we'll make the decision, then it'll go in December to them.
Good question. Okay,
Okay. The next step.
okay, 501c3. I said earlier that there's only two ways that we're going to get funded for things to this park. The board is not going to raise taxes to give any money to the Board of Supervisors, or for the rec board to make improvement. The money that they are trying to get out of the budget is for these events that hopefully we can make a few bucks off of. So, the 501c3 is an extremely integral part of this successful transformation of this park, or maintaining it and improving it. So, I feel we need to work with them hand in hand. What are everybody's opinions sitting here?
This is not my area of expertise, but what I'm seeing here is the 501c3 is a license to do nonprofit fundraising.
Mhm.
Okay, so, which is great, we need to have that, and that's what we wanna do. Long-term, far down the road, I don't wanna put this in any master plan, but I could see the rec park being taken off of the township's hands and being an entity that it could run itself and actually lower the taxes that the township is paying, because you're not paying to upkeep all this property in rec park. It could be its own entity at some point. We're not ready to do that yet, and with it just being an advisory board, we're nowhere close to doing it. Down the road is what I'm saying. There's little things we can do to make upgrades to the park so we can start generating income. But when we generate the income, does it go into the Heidelberg
General fund.
general
I mean,
fund?
park fund.
And then the supervisors say, okay, you've generated $2,000 of income. Now we're gonna let you ask for $2,000 worth of whatever. Like you need to put up you need to make $2,000 upgrades to the concessions building. So but if we raise $2,000, is the township supervisor's gonna say, we're only gonna give you $1,500, even though you've raised 2,000. I mean, do we have control over the money that we can raise?
Well, I think we ought to have a specific budget item line that any money that this rec board makes goes into that specific budget item, not into the general fund.
Well, it shouldn't be a general
Well,
fund, it should be,
if the money that's generated by the rec park board is given, if the amount generated is documented and it goes into the, then it's a matter of having supervisors with integrity that are gonna say, okay, you've generated this, we'll send it back to you.
see, the way it would work is with a township or even just like a business, you have multiple, checking accounts, multiple accounts in, as an umbrella over your township. So like they have like a fuel fund, they have all those different, so they'll have say that they talked about allocating, $10,000 to the rec park to do stuff. So in the beginning, that's taxpayers' money, it's their budget, it's in their general budget, but they, starting out, they can have it in a rec park fund so that when they do the printout of all the stuff, you'll know exactly, the rec park has $10,000, we had an event, and now there's $7,000 in that account. And then, but,
Okay. go
so,
ahead.
so what he was saying, then if you make money for your events, then you'll know, well, we actually, that event cost us $3,000. We didn't really make anything, because that amount of money you have to make last you that whole year to do events and upgrades and stuff. Now, when the 501c3, if they're coming to the spring fling, 501c3 can do things that we can't in our events. 501c3s, they could go down to the Porter's Fire Company and have a bingo, and just for the rec park, we cannot do that. That's against the law in Pennsylvania, but they can do that. So if they can do strip tickets, they can do games of chance, they can do raffle stuff we cannot do, but 501c3s can do that. So they can go and solicit things like a lot of places do, and even the fair company, they'll come here to my store and solicit, because they're gonna have raffles, they set them up, people buy chances and stuff. We can't do that as a rec park board, but they legally can. So that's the other thing you have to watch. They can raise a ton of money that we legally cannot. I mean, we get a profit maybe off of our food or something like that, or when we're selling spaces for the food trucks and stuff, but we cannot do what they can do legally.
Okay. My question was,
Okay.
are we going to be open-minded and work with the 501c3? I mean, work with them.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Right.
Okay, I just want that commitment.
That's what I'm saying here about getting them to come into the event and like proposing opportunities for them to make money. Plus they can do so much more than we can get grants and stuff, but they can do more than we can do. I mean, now that's my understanding, that's what the 501c3 wants to do, so.
Is that what the 501c3 wanna do?
Are you answering for us?
But I think Lori's answering for us.
No, I was just talking. I was just kind of thinking, sorry.
Yeah, well, you're shaking your head now, I thought maybe you were disagreeing. Answer John's question.
I'm here to understand exactly what it is you're proposing. This is all new to me. I'm hearing it, and I've heard part of this before, but it's really quite new to me. So I would like to understand, you're saying that you want us to, there was something about a $25,000 repair list, and you said the 501c3 could cover those costs? You wanted us to repair $25,000 worth of the concession stand, is that right?
No, that isn't right, that is not what I said.
Oh,
Sandy asked to see the repair list. This is what the township asked us to get. No, we're asking you to do stuff like the swing sets and that kind of stuff. We never asked you to do the repairs. The township said they're responsible for that. The township asked us to get estimates to have the windows fixed and stuff instead of them doing it. So we did that. What I'm saying is the 501c3 will do whatever needs to be done in the park of upgrades that we want to do in the park. That was a wish list of down the road,
Well,
like putting
we
heating.
can do fundraising for projects like that. We can't, guarantee you that we're gonna come up with X number of dollar amount.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or assume, okay, and obviously it has to be something that the supervisors have approved.
As a 501c3, that you don't need to approve it.
Well, no, they do.
Yeah.
The township has to approve everything
Okay.
that we do. So in other words, when we ask them, we go to this, we as a board decide we would like to have swing sets put up on the playground, okay? So we go to the board of supervisors with our estimates and said, we would like to put this in. Then they say yes, then we would then, at the next meeting, ask the, 501c3 if they would like to raise the money for the thing, whether they write a grant, or if we write a grant and they do fundraisers, that we would work together to try to get the $6,000 it costs to do the swings. And that's but we have to go to the board of supervisors, because we can't do anything to the park without their approval.
The park does not belong to the charity. We don't have the authority to do anything specific at the park, to the park, for the park, without the supervisor's approval.
Okay, I'll get back to that. Renan?
Vicky, I just have a question. But you're not suggesting though that the 501c3 cannot raise money without the supervisor's approval. They are already
No,
authorized to.
legally, they can raise money
They are
all
authorized
they
to raise
want.
money
It's
anytime
just,
they want, of
if
course.
they wanna spend the money in the park,
Of-
that's what they.
Of course, the park doesn't belong to them, that is absolutely correct. They need approval to actually go in and put something, but they could have
Now-
$100,000 in their
That's
account
exactly what I
already.
Yeah.
Can I would like to,
I'm sorry,
speak
Donna.
specifically to Renan's, that's an absolutely ridiculous comment, because when you go to raise money, you say, I am raising money for, and you say what you're raising money for, and I'm not gonna go and discredit the charity by saying, I'm raising money for, what was it, the warm-up fields for the, whatever, for the
Batting
softball,
Yes.
when the supervisors haven't agreed to do that. I'm not gonna go out there and say that that's what I'm raising money for, something that the supervisors haven't approved.
Well, I think maybe what you were saying is, can they just start, like they raised money to do the doggy things before the doggy things were purchased. And you raised that money ahead of time, and then there was a need that we came for, so you could start raising
And
money
the-
for the park.
And the point is that people were asking us at that point, what are you raising money for? And honestly, most of that money came from the donations from the officers of the 501c3. People were not willing to put money into something without a purpose,
No, that makes sense.
right? So Trent and I put most of that money in.
Renan?
So, you absolutely can raise money. I think it is true that it becomes harder if over time you
Can we
are.
just
on-
cut
Can
him
I-
off, please?
Would you, is that
It's just-
a
No,
request for the,
I-
would you like to cut me off?
Finish,
Sure, so you can raise money. It is
Okay.
of course harder to raise money if the township has a poor track record of delivering on solutions. And so if, for example, after a long time, they were sitting on a lot of money that was never spent, of course people would start to ask questions. But there was a playground that needed repair. There's been lots of reasons why they could have raised money, and a lot of the items that Vicky is bringing up, holding a bingo at the fire department, yeah, you can do that without necessarily saying what people will show up, right? And they will show up for a good cause,
Right.
regardless. So, earlier on, I think there was a sense of puzzlement about why people are shaking their heads when this organization gets brought up. The reason is that I think there is skepticism that there has been plenty of time to raise money and no money has been raised.
Okay, can I respond to that
We're not gonna
specifically?
get
Like to
into
say
that
something
because
there.
I have a real big bone on that one. I have a bone to pick with that. Bob,
I think in the economy that we're currently in, and we're all, I'm gonna say victims of it, so to speak, that raising money for anything when there's no clearly specified purpose for that money, you may as well wish in this hand and crap in this one and see which one gets full first, okay? People aren't just gonna give you money not knowing what they're getting. So you can spin it any way you want and say that these people whoever can raise money with no purpose. But the reality of it is, it'll be difficult to do it even if you have a purpose. So hypothetical situations like raising money for no purpose is great, but in the real world, I don't think it's practical whatsoever.
All right,
I'd like to say something also, and that's that maybe you should have all your facts when you speak about something like this. We have, been told for 4 years now, the only answer we've gotten to anything is wait until this happens. Let's sit and wait until that happens. All three of the supervisors were approached about different things. And we were given no permission, encouragement, anything, to do anything, except one yard sale. We were supposed to take care of everything, getting the vendors, setting up, tearing down, running the whole show, and the money was supposed to go in the township's office. And no, that's not how the charity works. And I think, you know,
Charity.
you've been fed whatever you've been fed over the last couple of years. But you better question maybe some of what you were fed, is it true or not?
Yeah, okay.
okay, we're
But I
not,
think now we have a rec board, now we have events coming up, now we have a plan, we have very motivated people that wanna improve the park. So now, I think it is important that we have events scheduled, and our next thing to do is start saying some of the improvements that we wanna try to do, so that the 501c3 has, I mean, it could just be something in the snack shack for the event. We need picnic tables for outside. It could even just be, okay, we're gonna look to get 6 picnic tables outside the snack shack by the April 19th. And then you know, as you're doing
So
your fundraiser,
submit a-
you would,
just like we submitted a proposal to
Mhm.
you for what we wanted to do, you submit a
Yeah.
proposal to us. Say you would like to get 6
yep,
picnic tables, okay? And we'll start working
yep,
on it.
that's what we're gonna do.
we can
That's
do
simple.
that.
And then we can,
Well, we can propose to the board of supervisors that it be done.
right,
And then get their approval.
Right.
and then they'll have time. That's why I didn't schedule any events till April 19th to give all these different entities, because it
That's
takes so
nice.
long to get all this approval, to all these different boards. So that's what we'll do. We'll have that for next meeting.
Okay, so as a board here, we're gonna get together and prioritize some
Mhm.
things that we need.
Yeah, we'll make a
To get
list, we can each
started.
make a list, of some smaller
And
stuff that they
as-
can do.
Yeah, just as a point of clarification, the 501c is not gonna be raising funds for anything that does not have the stamp of approval of the board of directors, board of supervisors.
Right.
We can't do that anyway, so, yeah, that's no
Right,
problem.
right.
We
So,
agree on that.
so our $100,000 that we could have raised is impossible because it did not have the approval of the board of supervisors.
Bernard?
Again, it would have been hard to raise $100,000 without a specific mandate. They are authorized to raise money right now, and there are plenty of expenses for which they could raise money.
Authorized by who?
They are an independent organization, they could hold a bingo tomorrow.
Oh, well,
Just
I
say
guess, I don't know.
it's for the rec park board, or
Well,
for the
that's-
rec park.
Yeah.
But they would like to do it specific, so if they wanna
That's
do it
great.
specific, then that's how we're gonna do it, cause that's how they wanna do it.
Let's move forward.
So we'll just
I
do it so we
agree
can work
100% with that. If
We're gonna
that's
do
how
it.
they
If
wanna
that's how they
do
wanna
it,
do it, then that's
that's
the way
what
we're gonna do it, right?
Do it.
Right.
we're
If-
gonna
if the
work
charity-
together on this.
And so that's
Maybe
what we're gonna do.
Renan has a sum of money we'd like to donate. I mean,
Yes.
don't,
Not to that
don't
organization.
just a gift horse in the mouth, I mean, no.
Okay, next. Is that everything that you, is that everything that you have for the 501c3? Next.
Okay. Unfortunately, Andy Mears with JMT is also on the Park and Rec Board at Springersbury Township.
Okay,
They're having they're having a very, very important meeting tonight that he couldn't get out of.
okay, now this was the guy that you were saying was gonna come in and talk to us
Yes,
about, okay,
okay.
cause I was wondering
Now,
what happened with that,
This
alright.
is a definite, I got him lined up. He is coming November 12th. Now,
November 12th. Our next meeting is the 19th.
is it,
Yes, our next,
I gotta get back to. Okay. He should be able to make that.
okay. Let me check to make sure it's right. I'm sure the girls didn't get it. Oh. Okay, November, yes, 19th, that's right. That's our next meeting, not the 12th.
Okay.
Well, we already voted and approved for him to come, so
I'll
if he
get-
can come that time,
I'll
then
get him
we'll,
to November 19th.
okay,
Okay.
alright.
Now, just an overview. He's going to have a PowerPoint presentation explaining his company and what they offer and the number of different municipalities and boroughs that he has helped with this through his company.
And his company is for master plans, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, just so,
But-
cause you said
yeah.
his company, but I just wanna
Yeah.
make sure. I put that.
And he told me he could get us the contact with writing, where we could go for, a grant for writing the master plan, where we could get money for that. So, it's just another thought out there. It's not that I'm trying to direct this Board of Recreation in any direction. Okay? It's just an educational meeting.
That
Okay.
sounds good, and it can't hurt to learn, right, I'm all on board. Made no commitments, but
No commitment, doesn't
That's
cost
good.
anything.
that's good.
Okay, next.
Old business, none, right?
No, do you have any old business, Dan?
Just that I looked into the cost of what it would be to get a batting cage. And I only spent a half an hour researching this, right? And I didn't talk to any schools or any YMCA's or anything to see if they were getting rid of an old one, but I was just going around pricing, cause I thought, man, you know, are they 2,000 or more? And there's a lot of them for 2,000 up to 7,000, but I did see some that looked adequate that were $600 to $700, which
Okay.
to me, in my mind, I'm like, boy, that, and I, you know, I'm not an expert, and I would go to the coaches to get input, but that, to me, it seemed like if it's only, you know, $800 or less, it might be something attainable
Right.
down the road.
Okay.
Just, that's my input.
Okay,
Next.
under new business,
That's it.
Mr. King gave Judy a handout for us to review that's called America 250 PA. And it just seems to me, looking at it, that it's just a,
Do I have a copy of it?
yeah,
It
you
says-
have it.
Right there it is.
Oh, that's it, okay.
Since we just got it tonight, read through it, see what you wanna think about it. It's just to offer a proclamation or something that the
It says
township.
that we're endorsing America 250 PA, so we need to research to see what America 250 PA is.
Well,
Because it says we're endorsing.
yeah, it does.
So before I sign, I mean, I wanna know what
And
about what
then you should also
I looked it up.
contact, Paul King,
okay, all right, I'm gonna
Okay.
do that, yep,
because he's the one that this originated.
okay. See it right there?
Yeah,
But I don't know what it has to do with us, but we'll look at it. Okay,
Okay,
next meeting.
next meeting is November 19th, 6 p.m.
okay, hold on. This thing here,
Pardon?
this here, what is this?
That's just,
a
that's
summary of what I presented
what he talked about last
orally.
month.
last month.
Okay, now, just all these ADA things. I mean,
They're hurting.
yeah, I mean, if we gotta make these upgrades to the pavilion,
Oh, that orange pavilion is worthless for ADA.
we have to take it down. If we have to spend the money to make the upgrades to be able to,
It was just put in last year.
it would be more cost effective to just get rid of the thing than try to meet these.
Well, I have some ideas on that too, volunteer, and, H&H has been working with us really well, but let me explore that.
All right, I'm looking at this thinking, if we have to do all these little things to meet,
Well, if you
Handicap
read down at the
standards.
bottom, some of our pathways can have signage on it that says not ADA approved, which means the handicap know that
okay.
they shouldn't, that
Okay, then that's what we're doing. That's smarter to do.
Cause just looking at this, I'm thinking, any fundraising that we have to do
For that
is
is,
just trying to, would be futile to even try to make the upgrades to make this, what we have accessible.
well,
Okay,
I'm
I'll let
also
you-
hoping that we can find an ADA,
Find a grant for that.
grant.
Okay, that, yeah.
Yes.
I'm all for
Okay.
grants.
So it's not a total loss. We'll get through it at some point, like
Okay.
you said.
Now, while I'm thinking about it, just a little observation here. The little footbridge that's near the wooden footbridge that's near the basketball court, whoever put that up had never played basketball before. That should not be there, because if you're chasing a ball, foul ball, or, a rebound, it's right there. I mean, there's a wooden post that's right at the edge of the basketball court. I don't even know why it's there. So, I mean, to me, that's a danger. I don't know why they have these rails right next to the basketball court. I'm thinking,
There's some history with that bridge
Okay,
that
well,
I don't completely
I'm just
know.
saying.
But we do need to find that out.
But another thing is, pickleball is a huge thing now. And to me, it would make sense to make the basketball court also be able to be a pickleball court at some point. And you could just, make holes on either side of the center of the court, and you can have removable, portable nets to make that a pickleball court if you wanted to do that. Just a thought, down the road.
Yeah,
We don't, I mean, nothing we have to do.
there's some logistics that would have to be
Right.
worked out there too,
Right.
but any ideas, we're not gonna say no to.
Right, I'm just throwing it out a couple ideas, not that
Okay,
we have to
because
do
that's
anything.
our purpose, to listen to the community and fulfill their wishes. Okay,
Adjourn.
motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
I'm good.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Alright, so I have this. Oh, was there anything you wanted me to do in the meantime to the next meeting? What do I need to do?
What?
What do I need to do before the next
We
meeting?
have to gavel.
And this jerk off is running his mouth. It makes me,
I'll take that into consideration.
What is my punishment gonna be?
you should be,
This.
There should be a
Silence.
punishment. There should be a what?
you should, there's a time for public comments.
Yeah, but people have been
Are you
commenting. I think
videoing me?
it's a really good meeting.
The meeting's
hasn't
been
gavelled.
adjourned.
He hasn't gobbled the meeting still
Gavel
going
the
on.
meeting out, please.